Hello, good day everyone. I am Welfred, a second-year Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, major in Financial Management from Northern Zambales College, Incorporated. In this report, I will be discussing about the membership and voting rights in the World Bank, the organizational structure and operational structure of World Bank, and also I will be discussing about the financial and lending operations and the terms of lending. Membership and voting rights. Based on the Article of Agreement, only member countries of the International Monetary Fund may be considered for membership in the World Bank. Ibig sabihin, yung mga kasama lang doon sa International Monetary Fund ang kinoconsider ni World Bank. So kung wala siya doon sa International Monetary Fund, hindi siya magiging member ni World Bank at hindi siya pwedeng mangutang kay World Bank. As of June 30, 1993, the World Bank had 173 members. So ngayon, ilan na ba yung members ng World Bank? There are 189 members nation. Every member country has a quota based on its economic strength. The rich countries have bigger quotas. The United States is the biggest stockholder of the World Bank with 16.53% of total voting powers. In the case of the Philippines, it has only 0.5% of the total World Bank votes. So kung sino yung mayaman na bansa, sila yung nagkakaroon ng malaking quota. Since the United States yung may pinakamalaking shareholder sa World Bank noong taong 1993, sila yung nagkakaroon ng voting powers kasi nga sila yung may malaking shareholder. Kung malaki yung quota ng isang bansa, ibig sabihin yung isang bansa is mayaman siya. Here is the list of the top 5 World Bank stockholder and their voting powers noong taong 1993. First, we have United States with 16.53% total voting powers. Next is United Kingdom with 6.87% total voting powers. Germany has 5.31% of total voting powers. France with 5.09% of total voting powers. And Japan with 5.09% total voting powers. The voting powers of each member country is based on the number of share it holds. Shares are allocated differently in each organizations, resulting in different voting powers. So kapag mataas ang voting powers ni country, mataas din yung kanyang voting rights. If a country fails to fulfill any of its obligations, it may be suspended. A member country can withdraw from the World Bank anytime. However, termination of memberships in the World Bank does not relieve the member country concerned of any direct and contingent obligations to the World Bank before it ceased to be a member. The former country members remains liable for calls on the 90% unpaid portion of its subscriptions with respect to the World Bank loans or guarantees which has been contracted before membership ceased. A former member country can repurchase its shares of stocks in the World Bank if it can satisfactorily fulfill its direct financial obligations to the organizations. So, di ba si World Bank is bago magpahiram ng pera kay member country, susuriin muna niya kung ano yung mga project pa ni member country is may benefits ba sa bansa, especially sa ekonomiya nito. Kapag hindi nag-fulfill ni member country yung maalis sa pagiging member si member country sa World Bank. Organizational structure. The Board of Governors is on the top of the organizational structure of the World Bank. All power of the World Bank are vested in it. The board is composed of one governor appointed by each country. Usually, the governors is the prime ministers, central bank governors, or finance ministers of a member country. The president of the World Bank is the chairman of the executive directors. He may only vote in case of a tie. The executive directors are responsible for interpreting the provisions of the Articles of Agreement subject of appeal to the Board of Governors. Each of the five biggest stockholders of World Bank appoint a single executive directors. The remaining 19 executive directors are elected for a 2-year term by the governors from the other country. Each governor casts the number of votes to which his country is entitled. Each executive governor appoints his own alternate. The president of the World Bank is selected by the executive directors. He is responsible for the conduct of the ordinary business of banks and for the organizations. He appoints and dismisses its officers and staff. As traditions, the president of the World Bank has always been an American. There is no explicit requirements, however, the World Bank president should be an American. The first World Bank president was Eugene Meyer. So, sa madaling sabi, the World Bank Group Board of Governors refers to the four separate board of directors, namely the Board of International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the International Development Agency, the International Finance Corporations, and the Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency. Each board is responsible for the general operations of their respective organizations. The executive directors as individual cannot exercise any power nor commit or represent the bank unless specifically authorized by the board of directors to do so. Executive directors are appointed or elected by the governors. Separate elections are held for the bank of and MGI directors. Bank executive directors serve ex officio as directors of IFC and IDA. The current board of World Bank Group consists of 25 directors. In line with the bank articles, the executive directors select the bank president, who is the chairman of the board of directors. The president is the presiding officers and ordinarily has no vote except a deciding vote in case of an equally divided board. Operational structure of World Bank. The organizational structure of the World Bank was recognized on 1973 along regional type. It consists mainly in 5 regional offices of the bank headquarters in Washington, D.C. These 5 regional offices are Eastern Africa, Western Africa, Asia, Europe, Middle East and North Africa, Latin America, and Caribbean. The aforementioned regional offices are headed by regional vice president who report to the senior vice president of operations. Each regional office is responsible for planning and supervising the implementations of World Bank assistance program within its assigned countries. The reorganized principal aims of operational structures of World Banks to permit the banks to maintain and improve the effectiveness of the development assistance it extend to countries. So, isa sa mga hangarin ng World Bank is para mapanatili niya at mapabuti ang ekonomiya ni member countries sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng tulong pinansyal sa bansa. To establish the framework for close working relations between the country experts and sector specialists. Hangarin rin ng World Bank na may tatag na magkaroon ng malapit na ugnayan sa mga ekspertong manggagawa ng bawat bansa. So, itong mga ekspertong ito is magtutulong-tulong para sa mga proyekto na kung ano yung mas magandang gawin ni isang bansa na magpapaganda ni World Bank yung takbo ng ekonomiya ng isang bansa. So, next, to allow optimum utilizations of bank staff in dealing with more complex program which require a multidisciplinary team approach in preparing, appraising, and implementing projects upang payagan yung pinakamainam na paggamit ng mga bank staff sa pagharap ng mas komplikadong programa na nangailangan ng multidisciplinary team approach sa paghahanda at pagpapatupad ng mga ito. Financial and lending operations. The World Bank also lends to public and private organizations which can obtain the guarantee of a member government where the project is located. Except in special circumstances, A World Bank loan must be used for reconstructions or development of a member country or a territory controlled by the member. So si World Bank is nagpapautang hindi lang sa mga member country nito, gayon din sa mga public and private organizations na yun nga, yung project na gagawin is makaka-benefit sa country's economy. Hindi yung hihiram lang sila sa World Bank para i-corrupt ng government. Kaya kailangan muna nila mag-propose ng project before sila makautang kay World Bank. The project to be funded by the World Bank must be technically and economically viable. It must have a high priority for the economic development of a country. It must satisfy the World Bank that the project will be properly managed both during implementations and after completions. So yun na nga yung inuutang si country kay World Bank para na makaka-benefit talaga sa economic development ng bansa. There must be a reasonable assurance that the loan will be repaid and that it must not be a burden to the borrowing country's economy. In addition, the borrower cannot obtain a loan on reasonable terms from other resources. Ayun nga, dapat talaga bago mapautang ni World Bank si country is kailangan may assurance na mababayaran ito ng bansa doon sa napagkasundaang term ng pagbabayad. The World Bank determined the credit worthiness of the borrowers by periodically sending economic missions to member countries to evaluate their development and progress and problem and policies. So si World Bank is nagpapautang nga sa mga bansa. So siya is nagkakaroon ng pagsusuri sa mga ito na talagang magagawa ng member country yung goal ni World Bank para sa pag-angat ng bawat bansa. Such assessment include analysis of government fiscal and investment policies, development planning, achievements of planned targets, pattern of public expenditures, applications of external assistance, mobilizations and allocations of domestic resources, effectiveness of foreign trade and investment policies, effectiveness of institutions building programs, other which affect the political, social, and economic stability of the member country.
Terms of lending. The World Bank extends medium and long-term loans. The principal repayment begins at the end of the grace period and thereafter spread over the remainder of the life of the loan. The length of the loan and the grace period is related to the characteristic of the particular project, adjusted in appropriate cases to the prospective balance of payment and external debt situation of the borrowing country. Normally, the grace period is designed to run until the project becomes operational and begins to produce economic benefit. The calculations of the amortization period is based on the estimated useful life of project. Sa madaling sabi, ito yung panahon at palugit na binibigay ni World Bank sa isang country na nangutang para mabayaran ang halagang hiniram. Yung palugit na ibinibigay ni World Bank is nakadepende doon sa pinropose ni country kay World Bank. Kadalasan yung palugit na ibibigay ni World Bank is nakadepende din doon sa project hanggang sa maging operational at kumita yung nasabing proyekto at mag-benefit sa economy nito.